Hi, I'm David, and today I'm going to tell you about the pulse index tool we're introducing in Oasys 20. The pulse index tool is part of the new workflows feature in Oasys 20. Workflows have been introduced to the Oasys suite to make it easier to interrogate and post-process results. If you haven't already, watch the video introducing workflows. During early stages of vehicle development, it can be useful to understand occupant acceleration without needing to include a complex and computationally expensive occupant model. The post-index workflow allows you to estimate the acceleration that would be experienced by a vehicle occupant in a crash test scenario. The tool assumes a virtual single degree of freedom mass spring system in which the occupant is represented by a mass and the seatbelt is represented by a spring. This mass spring system is then virtually attached onto the vehicle. You can find more details of the pulse index calculation in the user manual. For now, I'm going to give a quick demo of how to use the pulse index workflow tool. Welcome to the pulse index demo. In this demo, I'll go through how to set up a pulse index workflow calculation and how to run that calculation. Now you can see I've got a model open already, so I'm going to navigate to the workflows window. In this window, we'll go to pulse index tool, and now we're presented with the pulse index definition window. In this window, we want to select units. We're going to go with U2. It's important to note the units that we select here must match the units that were used to run the model. Then we want to specify mass of the occupant. Let's set that to 0.1 ton. We want to specify initial velocity. We'll leave it at 15.6. Restraint stiffness. Let's have that at 200 newtons per millimeter. And we also have the option to include some slack in the system. In this case, I'm going to leave it at 0, and this will not affect our calculation. The last input we want to provide is the measurement node. So this is the node that will be used to sample the vehicle acceleration, and this is the backbone of our analysis. For that node, we can specify the axis we want to use. We'll go with x-axis in this case. Now it's important to note some of the functionality we have here. For example, if you want to switch to a different unit system, all you need to do is select that unit system and your inputs will be automatically converted. So if we wanted to go and switch to feet, slugs, and seconds, we could do that and the inputs would be converted for us and we wouldn't need to fiddle with a calculator. So having set that up, we can also choose to run with variable stiffness if we wanted to. You would do that by clicking variable over here and selecting a curve from your primer model. But in this case, we're going to run with constant, and I'll go bring that back to 200,000 newtons per meter. Once we've got all of our inputs in, you can see the save buttons have activated. We have two options to save here. We can save them to a file. That would be a JSON file. Or we can save to a model. And that would be this model. And it's important to note that this data will go into the key file, but it won't be written out unless you write out the model itself. So in this case, we'll go and save to file. I will name it a pulse index demo and save that. We can see it's written to the destination, and we can now switch to TS. In TS, I've got the model open already, so I'm going to go through the same flow. I'm going to go to the workflows menu. In here, we have the available workflows to run. Pulse index is here, and we're presented with the same window as on the primer side. It's useful here that you could go ahead and change most of the inputs you've already provided. So if you want to run some sensitivities, you want to go ahead and change the mass back to 80, you can do that. You can change the velocity, the stiffness, or the slack, or the unit system. So in this case, I'll go ahead and change the unit system to U2 because that's what the model is running with. I've changed the mass and I'm happy with it now. Last thing I will change would be this plot checkbox. We don't have any plots on our page, so there's no point to plot on a new page in this case. And I'll press calculate. Once I've pressed calculate, we can see the tool run. It presents us with a note in this case. It says that the value pulse index maximum occurs almost at the end of our calculation. This is a very useful note for us because we know that we might want to go back and run that analysis for a little bit longer and make sure that we're capturing the actual maximum. So I'm going to press OK, dismiss this workflows window, and here we are presented with 4 plots. So the main plots would be comparisons between vehicle and occupant for acceleration in the top left, for velocity in the top right, and for displacement in the bottom left. And the last plot we have is the spring deflection by itself. Now you can play with this data, interrogate and analyze it as much as you want. And if you're happy with it, you can save it as well. I hope you find the Pulse Index workflow tool very useful in your work. Thank you for watching.